Okay, friends. I didn't intend to make a video this Saturday, but alas, there was a situation that called for my unsolicited opinion, so I'm here. Hope you guys are well. Don't forget to like, sub, hype, all that stuff. Love you guys to death. Wednesday's video is I'm really excited for. So we're talking about Steel Path Railjack. The Steel Essence incident, essentially, right? By the way, I'm going to include some B-roll for the low attention span folks, and I also changed my PowerPoints to dark mode for you, so it's more easy on the eyes, right? Hopefully that was useful. If you have any other changes you want, Flappy Zephyr bottom of the screen, let me know, whatever. I'll figure it out. Anyway, DE basically released a rushed variant of, Steel Path Railjack, right? And that was deemed too rewarding, just some number oversight. You have to do a lot of internal playtesting, I imagine. And it seemed like there wasn't even time for like the base level of playtesting for a lot of this stuff. So the extra playtesting to gauge rewards just definitely wasn't present. And they just had to go with it, right? Rushed content's a problem, obviously. I'll have a whole slide dedicated to that. So now this was like an insane amount of Steel Essence, to be fair. It was a lot. I did play some of it. I played about 3 hours of Kome for preparation of a future video. And yeah, you get a lot of Steel Essence this way. It's a rewarding amount. It's a good feeling amount, but ultimately, because Steel Essence is able to buy you a bunch of relic packs every week, that means you can acquire new Prime Access stuff way faster, and you are less incentivized to buy Prime Access, which is a large profit center for Digital Extremes. That's the short and sweet of it, as far as I'm concerned. Additionally, there is something to be said about like macros and the Asian server, which is like there's a lot more going on. I play on the Antarctic and Super server, so not an issue for me, but it's definitely an issue. And so players are definitely feeling really frustrated because this was one of the bright spots of the update. Like, I love survival, I love endless modes, anything that is endless. That is my populace, right? I'm very familiar with both the hyper casual and hyper competitive sides of Warframe, and I will say that I definitely lay on the more hyper competitive side, right? Like, there are players who only play like the arbitration goons and stuff. Like, they purely play to min-max everything, trade ribbons, make a zillion plat, and I get that appeal absolutely, and I also understand the casual appeal. But I feel like when Rebecca is saying we want to serve all, or Megan, I forget who said it, is saying they want to serve all Railjack players, the change they made to Steel Essence at the end of every Railjack mission serves nobody. I know they know that. I'm not going to be like rude. They know that, but it's a quick change they had to make. And this, for the record, I do agree this had to be shut down, but now we have to wait Lord knows how long to get a fix for something that I think was the most promising part of this update, Steel Path Railjack. So first I want to cover like my bases here and kind of I have a different little hat I want to throw in the ring here, a perspective I haven't heard. And this is like, obviously this is like higher level Warframe conversation. There's a bunch of players who didn't even know this happened. But yeah, this farm was too rewarding. I played like 3 hours of it, and I can say for certain with resource booster, with resource doubler. So like, that's a huge thing. It's like DE stopped letting resource doublers and resource chance boosters affect most farms, and so those boosters kind of ended up becoming not worthless because again in Void Cascade they're still very helpful, but like it is annoying that those boosters just have less impact because a lot of the hyper competitive players want to be able to use those resources that they've stacked up. Same with mod drop chance boosters. So there's two kind of perspectives here on this incident, right? One being a little bit more valid in my opinion, but both making perfect sense. So DE's rushing content out, so we have a rushed update. It feels rushed. They've admitted it's rushed. Okay. They give us a little like bright light that's pretty compelling, right? So like, I like survival, I like Railjack. Boom. There's good rewards. I'm gonna play that. And so having that stripped away like 2 days later feels like some booty. That doesn't feel great, right? And then there's the second opinion, which is you're just upset that you can't farm a year's worth of Steel Essence in like a week or two, or a month minimum, or maximum. And that's fair. I want to be clear, but I am also someone who can accept Warframe's economy. I understand DE has to make money. I want this game to keep. I have no problem myself giving DE money. I do it not really frequently, but I definitely have done quite a bit. I understand that this game it's free to play, right? And you get everything. Like, this is one of the only games in existence where platinum is just tradable. You don't have to spend a single dime ever. I accept that as the fucking absolute like unit that it is. That is so unique in this modern gaming space, and it will probably go eternally underappreciated. It is the single best part of Warframe, in my opinion, besides bullet jumping. And so yeah, I understand being like frustrated that you can't min-max the farm, but D's gotta make money. I'm not here to be a corporate apologist, quite the opposite, but like there is some level of realism that has to be applied here. And so you might have a mix of like both these opinions. Again, a lot of people didn't even play this, right? This is more of a game design commentary and like a commentary about like in-game economies and whatnot. One thing that bothers me personally is that there's no really telling how much the macro / AFK like culture played into this. Unless maybe there's like some stats that I could read that I'm mixing, or that I'm missing. Because they could just be using like Asia as like a scapegoat, where it's like, oh, like, because if macro was the issue, then macro is the issue. But like if macro is the issue, then dude, we got a problem. Because like, okay, survival is one of the more fun game modes. It's basically like KPM the game mode. I am an advocate. I'm probably gonna make a video on it later, but I'm an advocate for a survival rework or just a buff to it and make it like a more interactive game mode. I think the little bypasses were a great addition, but they're too damn hard to find. If we just buff those a little bit, adjust them, make them more interactive a process, then I think like survival can get in a really good spot. But like Survival Railjack, which is the main game mode that's being exploited, or DE in their verbiage, I believe called it an exploit. I didn't exploit it. I played it. I made a bunch of Steel Essence, but I didn't exploit shit. I played Kome for 3 hours, right? Survival Railjack isn't Railjack. You Railjack off for like 3 to 5 minutes, and then you just play survival. This wouldn't, if macro is and AFK culture is truly the issue here, like why aren't we just making Survival Railjack like a good game mode? not a good game mode, an interactive game mode. Like okay, this is the most armchair dev. I'm switching to slides here. This is the most armchair dev I'll ever get on this channel, and I sound insufferable. But maybe our game modes shouldn't be so, and I understand simple game modes are good, but maybe our game mode shouldn't be so simple to the point, and our mechanics shouldn't be so simple to the point where people can macro and AFK. Like that feels silly to me, right? That feels like some shit from like, wow, like 20 years ago. Hyperbole. Anyway, I just think that we should be making more active thought game modes. Like nobody is going to macro Void Cascade, I fear, right? So like we should maybe revisit some old game modes and just diff the macroers, right? Like I don't know. I don't D has like a gazillion internal statistics into like that whole problem. The Tenant Envoy, the Aki Core, all that shit. It's all because of AFK culture. I know nothing about it. I play on my Antarctic Super server again, but I just want to make it clear that like I think that's a huge solution, and I'll talk about that more in the next slide. This slide reads, hey Mr. YouTuber, did you know rushed content is really bad and robs both the devs and the community of creating proper long-lasting fixes and good faith generation? Yes, Mr. YouTuber did know that. Put simply, I understand that DE has corporate overlords. I have corporate overlords in my day job and in this job, if you want to call it that. Yeah, playing Warframe and making PowerPoints and sitting in CapCut for 2 hours is a job. Okay, you fucking chud. Yeah, sure. And there's not much they could have done. There's a chance that they were just crammed and there was nothing they could do. There's a little bit where I hesitate to believe it, right? So like I talk constantly about like the stove of audacity, right? Like DE burns their hands on it over and over. If they want to do these audacious things, these big audacious things, Steel Path Railjack, 2 Warframes in 1, blah blah blah, all these cool things, I am for it. This is the only reason DE or in Warframe like is alive, because they are constantly willing to do crazy random cool shit. But the problem is we use the idea up, right? Like we shoot the gun off and all the suspense is there and then we shoot the gun. Now and it shot a blank, right? So in the case of like Steel Path Railjack, its delivery, the Steel Path Railjack is like a novel concept that holds weight. You push it out and it comes out like shit. You can't rehype it. Like that flame has already burnt out. Additionally, DE also kind of stinks at revisiting old stuff. Like pretty hard, at least from my understanding and my 10 years of playing the game. And so you have this weight, especially with Steel Path Railjack, because Railjack I think is literally infinite potential. I know some people don't like it, and that's especially can be totally attributed to the way it came out, or you just don't like the flying around. But like, you know, Railjack is like, I like the onboard, the away crew, the on crew, so that way players who don't like the Railjack can be the away crew. I think it's super cool. Again, I think Railjack could be like a savior of this game in terms of like team play and the stuff that like Warframe is severely lacking. And so like DE isn't going to revisit this for like a while. And so I'd rather them just do like smaller, compact, solid updates. Like there was good stuff in the update. Like the DOT bar was awesome, Nidus Rework awesome, Arcane's pretty cool. But like it's very frustrating because like I have to be mildly doomer about the stuff that came out. Like I just have to accept that like Steel Path Railjack might never be revisited, and that's a bit hyperbole because I think they will take a look at this, because I think again it has infinite potential. I think they know that, I know that, but there are certain things that just got released like Sirius and Orion where it's like I don't expect you to get changed at all. Granted, I'm glad they buffed Jade Stars. Apparently a lot of other Warframes use Jade Stars really well, so the buff, like that's good, but like things come out in a disappointing way, and then I just kind of have to accept that they're not going to get changed, and that's a big shame. And that's a really big shame. This just feels, Steel Path Railjack just feels like a booth from start to finish, right? Like it came out, not play tested enough, clearly. Everything was too tanky. Like, I don't know, again, I don't want to be a LARPing dev. I don't know anything. I am a common dumb little chungus. I don't know anything. But like, okay, we're playing Steel Path Railjack, the fighters are too strong, the rewards are too strong, and nothing works. Like, why did we release it? I don't understand. I love DE. I love digital extremes. Like, I'm happy that this game exists. I have 4,000 hours, more than that now, actually. I just like, why did we release this? This could have waited, I think. I don't know. Corporations are always the problem. Whatever. This just felt like, from the beginning, it was a bit of a failure to the end. And that's sad because now, again, we can't use the hype for it again because it would just be a rework and a revisit, and we have to like spend more resources, and Lord knows there's like 2 interns working on reworks, right? Like or on like smaller reworks on prior content, right? Pablo took care of Nidus real good, so that's good at least. I feel like DE doesn't revisit their shit, so when something bad comes out, like I'm confident for DE's big new content, almost always. But like the small new content, I'm like, oh, if this comes out bad, it's never going to be fixed. Foley's Hunt, Atramentum, the Atrograph mods, whatever, I'm like, oh, we're just fucked forever. Even though I think this mechanic's really cool. Their manpower on the back foot, on the reworking, is just less than half the size, it feels like. I do like complaining, but I also like solutions. And I will talk about 2 that I think are like pretty important. I really don't think the problem, again, it was an oversight, so like the solution's been done. I think cutting this farm out of the game for the short term with TennoCon, because that's like their biggest thing, absolutely understandable. Don't really blame them for it. I more blame them for trying to release it in the first place in the state that it was in. Anyway, I just think like, obviously I can't say like, oh, don't rush content because you have like Tencent or whatever like up your ass. That sounds miserable. I don't envy that position at all. Make good game modes that are much more difficult to exploit. Like if Railjack Survival was a good game mode with some interaction, maybe every like 5 to 10 minutes you have like an away crew that has to jump off and like do stuff. No longer macroable, right? Like, okay, I know macros are quite sophisticated at the end of the day, but like I don't think it would be that hard. Again, armchair dev, larper, loser, common chunk, yeah, I know, whatever. I think that, again, no one's macroing Void Cascade, and people still think the rewards in that game mode are worth not just doing, but like playing well in, right? And like investing a lot into your amp, into your weapons, into your Warframe. Like, God, that game mode is just awesome. And like, just release good game modes where, okay, guys, again, maybe your game mode just isn't that good. I'm not saying that Survival's bad. It is like, its own nature is like its biggest enemy, right? Like, it's a simple KPM game mode. It's basically a practice range, so I understand. But like, if we're doing Railjack Survival, maybe we should tune that up a little bit if we're gonna, to tune the rewards up a little bit as well. So again, big point here that I want to kind of address is I don't know if DE is uncomfortable with the macro driven rates of gain or the general rates of gain. I know they have the information. Maybe I needed to pay more attention in the dev short. But yeah, I think that like the amount of steel essence I was getting was pretty crazy, but I don't think it was that crazy. And so I think a combination of nerfing the rewards slightly, not doing whatever they did, which again was necessary. TennoCon's coming up, I get it. Nerfing that steel essence gain. I just think we need to reward more endless play. I'm a chud. I love endless game modes. I'm sorry, that's the part of the population I am. I didn't choose to be this way. I was born this way. I love the endless game modes. I love when I'm rewarded for really, putting like ass to grass or whatever. And I think casual players are rewarded sufficiently in this game, and I think that like getting a more dedicated player base satisfied is really important. There are fair weather Warframe fans, a lot of them. So they're like the casual audience of this game. I've heard opinions where it like Warframe is basically as good as its last update, essentially, and that's kind of a problem if you ask me, right? And again, fair weather fans will always be a thing in every game, but I think Warframe should try to minimize that, because Warframe has always succeeded by having a loyal, strong fan base. And the last point is like, I think DE needs to do a large scale re-evaluation of rewards. Again, I'm a big fan of like the idea of raids and all this, but a raid adjacent content, teammate content, more like engaging stuff, and then increasing rewards. But ultimately, like the two biggest rewards in the game are like if you're doing like Void Cascade or other endless content, arbitration maxing. That's like plat rewards. That's like you're farming ribbons, you're farming Kuva, you're rerolling. That's a big, and then the biggest non-tradable market is Archon shards. So those two are like okay, but you can, I'm at like probably 90 of each primary color Archon shard, and you know that's ultimately they are not that impactful. In most builds at that point they're about min-maxing and looking pretty, which I totally get. And then obviously like the arbitration maxing stuff, that is more internal. That just converts into like more plat. It doesn't really interfere as much always with like prime access in the same way that Steel Essence and Relic packs do. So I think DE needs to like create some kind of something close. I'm gonna get shot for this. Something close to the Revenant mod, I feel like, that has a lot of investment, that is very min-maxy, very personal to the player. Like that's how all Destiny builds work, as far as I understand. I only have like 40-50 hours in Destiny, but like all Destiny builds are very personal. I know DE released like a survey a long time ago where they were like, how would you like something adjacent to Riven mods for your Warframes? Again, I'm gonna get my IP address leaked for this. I really think something like that would be very cool. I think that some way to get your Warframe into a more unique spot where it's like, it's not just like, oh, I copy and pasted Nightmare Frames build, like on, you know, I think that rewards need to be rethought if we're gonna go in the direction that I want Warframe to go in. Does DE want to go in that direction? I don't fucking know. That was way too long of a ramble. This video needs to end. Love you guys a lot. Thank you for watching this extra upload. The Wednesday's video is going to be really good, and I'm really excited. And I will talk to you soon. Hopefully, again, thank you for listening to my rambling. Love you guys lots. Talk to you soon. Like, sub, hype, blah, 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 and I'll see you in a bit. Bye.